When you breed clownfish, or really any fish for that matter, you're always going to have a certain percentage of fish that come out not quite right. These undesirable fish, you really should be culling, both for your reputation as a breeder and to ensure that the quality of the fish going forward are always going to be good. I picked 3 out here that have very obvious gill flares. This is by far the most common defect I find in my clownfish. They're not usually this bad, but I picked out 3 very obvious ones, so it's very easy for anyone to see that these guys are not quite right. You can see this Da Vinci here is also missing a small portion of his gill plate. That could be due to fighting, but it also potentially could be a genetic defect. Occasionally they have spinal deformities and other issues, but gill flares is typically what I see in a small percentage of my fish. So enter the Rhinopias. First of all, I do love this fish, but second of all, he provides a very valuable service as he quickly gobbles one down. Typically, this is not how he hunts, but he was very hungry before adding these 3 fish. He will often actually grab the first one quickly like that, but the other 2 can stick around for hours and even till the next day. Typically, this behavior is the Rhinopias hunting. He just kind of bobs up and down, mimicking a piece of floating sponge or algae, and just slowly approaches the fish. If I didn't have the Rhinopias, I would be forced to either hit the fish with a hammer, which is considered a humane way to euthanize, just in case you're wondering, or use something like clove oil. The footage here is actually sped up to double speed, and it actually went on for several minutes that I cut, so you can see he just slowly creeps up to the fish to grab him. And you can also see that the orange storm is very obviously flared. While you do sometimes see fish like this for sale, there's no reason anyone should be paying what orange storms cost and getting a fish of this quality. While they generally can live for a while like this, they're very susceptible to both water quality issues. Whenever there's any issues in my grow-out systems, it's always the defective ones that die. And they're also much more susceptible to disease because their gills are quite literally exposed. You can see once he grabbed him, he did catch some of the caulerpa too. Now that's not an issue. He's just going to wait a few seconds for the fish to stop moving, and then he'll open his mouth and let go of the algae. The good thing about these fish, despite the fact they're deformed, is they're very nutritionally good. They're fed just as well as my other clownfish that I sell. So they are fed a high quality varied diet, and in turn the Rhinopias gets the benefits of that. If you keep a predator, it's much more common to feed them mollies, since that's a much more obtainable fish for most people. However, if you do know a local clownfish breeder, this may be the way to go to feed your predator fish. A lot of times people don't like to sell the culls because they're afraid they're going to be sold as pets. But if you show them you have a predator fish, I don't see why you couldn't get a hold of them, if you're lucky, that is. If not, you can certainly use mollies. But I'm hoping that my Rhinopias will live for many years on a diet that is maybe not exclusively, but very heavily clownfish dominated. I hope you found this interesting. And if you think this is cruel, that's your opinion. But again, these fish really do need to be culled.